Hi Gina.
Hi Ione, hi everyone. I'm Gina, the senior editor of Polyester.
And I'm Ione, the founding editor-in-chief of Polyester, and this is the Polyester Podcast, a feminist pop culture podcast dissecting the discourse on a weekly basis.
Before we start, if you're a fan of this podcast, please make sure to like, rate, subscribe and review. And if you really love us, you can sign up for a podcast membership where you can join our WhatsApp chat, get access to our research each week, and get on our Instagram close friends for only £3 a month. Do we have any reviews, Ione?
We do. 5 stars, love this pod. I'm not a podcast girly, but I've been changed. I've seen the light, and I thank you lot. Love heart, love heart, love heart by Sketders?
Skets?
Yeah. By Apple Podcast in Great Britain.
Oh no.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Have you added it now so it says leave a review?
Yeah.
Or we just...
It says like, rate, subscribe and review.
Oh, okay. That's good.
I know, I can't believe how long we were doing it without, like, the key things that we wanted in it. What we doing the episode on today, Ione?
So, today we are doing our episode on... Well, actually, first of all, do you want to explain why we had a week off last week in case anyone didn't see our Instagram stories?
Oh, yeah.
Of which
really
you missed out.
incredible Instagram stories where we were just being silly gooses.
Mm-hmm.
So last week, I feel silly saying it, I was off. I'm really sorry if you were expecting an episode and you didn't get one. I was delirious with COVID and norovirus at the same time.
Yeah.
And that was, sorry, goodbye.
Not goodbye.
Never goodbye, but sorry that we weren't there last week. Very graciously, well, not gracious, I only let me have that. So no, I'm rambling now. Okay, so what are we doing this week?
So today we are doing our episode on All Eyes on Rafah, the AI art thing that everyone has probably seen because I think it's been shared over 46 million times to Instagram stories. So it's basically an AI generated artwork that depicts Rafah, but then it says All Eyes on Rafah in it are built out of the tents as well.
Yeah, it's like a pretend Rafah because it's just like some brown ground and then
Yeah, it's very obviously AI generated and it's taken Instagram by storm in the past week and a half. All Eyes on Rafah started going viral because there was another attack on Rafah. So in an article called What is All Eyes on Rafah? Decoding a Viral Social Trend on Israel's War by Sarah Sahim for Al Jazeera, she basically writes that at the beginning of Israel's war on Gaza, Israel began bombing it from the north and moved down, displacing Palestinians from their homes as they fled south to seek shelter. Sorry, my words are a bit fuzzy today because I've yet again started a new medication. Back into the quotes. By February, about half of Gaza's 2.3 million population had been pushed into Rafah when Israel said it planned to launch a ground operation on Rafah, claiming Hamas 4 brigades, the Palestinian group that governs the Strip, were there. The announcement was condemned worldwide. In February, Richard Rick Peppercorn, which sounds like such a fake name, I'm sorry, what?
Rick Peppercorn.
Who representative for Gaza and the occupied West Bank, said all eyes are on the impending Rafah offensive. Amira Kawash, a UK-based Palestinian, Iraqi, American artist and researcher whose work explores the effect of AI on Palestinian lives and narratives, told Al Jazeera that All Eyes on Rafah likely originated from his statement. So, on Sunday, which would be Sunday a week ago now that you're listening to this, 2 days after the International Court of Justice, the ICJ, ordered Israel to halt its offensive on Rafah, Israeli bombardment killed at least 45 people in al-Mawasi in western Rafah, which was previously declared a safe zone. Another Israeli attack killed 21 in a displacement camp west of Rafah on Tuesday, and at least 12 of those killed were women. Air attacks were reported on Wednesday morning. Israel has killed at least 36,171 people in Gaza since October 7th, according to the Ministry of Health in Gaza. But yeah, as I previously said, so people have been moving south and Rafah was declared a safe zone basically from attacks, but that has been not misproven, but Israel have still attacked it, essentially, is the long and the short of it. And I feel like the phrase All Eyes on Rafah has been circulating in different ways, but definitely this AI generated image is the main one that has been going around, which is kind of a strange accumulation of lots of things that have been happening on Instagram. So we'll go into the origins of the actual All Eyes on Rafah, AI generated thing later, but I thought it was like interesting. It's hard to like speak about it in like terms of how it exists on the rest of Instagram, but I suppose this just like ties back to our episode on block out and like how we do see so many things together at the same time that our brains are essentially like soup of just different information from Instagram. And like it's strange that All Eyes on Rafah has become such a viral image, considering like the rest of Instagram, which might just be biased towards us because we obviously follow a lot of quote unquote creative people, have been like anti-Meta AI. So do you want to explain Meta AI a bit, G? Or like what's been going on in terms of like the AI?
Yeah, so Meta has, I don't know why, I feel like they've always done this. Well, not always done it, but probably since AI has come about. But in the past week or so, you've probably seen someone share being like a post where it's got like verbatim, I do not grant Meta permission to use my images in training their AI, which like it's so like Facebook mom of people to be like, you know,
this
like
story means that Meta cannot use any of the things I've already given them permission to use.
Yeah, literally, it'll be in like your fucking terms and conditions, like point Z point.
It is it is, or like not the AI thing specifically, but like I swear it's something that you give them right to reproduce the image by putting it on Instagram or Facebook or whatever in the first place.
Also, I don't care if they're training an AI with my shit posting, like they're probably using my data in much more sinister ways in other places.
I mean, I understand people not wanting their work to be used, especially because like Instagram was initially marketed as like the home of artists and creative people. So there's obviously been such like division in the creative, well, not even division, like most artists hate AI, I would say. Like there are some artists working with it, but I'd say like most people see it as an assault on creativity, and therefore it makes sense that they wouldn't want like Instagram to use their work to train generative AI.
Yeah, I think it is assault on creativity. Like when in the research there's loads of stuff talking about how it was created literally to be like the great equalizer of creativity. Like the creators of the AI generative platforms have called it that. Like it's in this Vox article called Why AI Art Will Always Kind of Suck, and it's like, the reason we built this tool is to really democratize, neither of us can speak today, democratize image generation for a bunch of people who wouldn't necessarily classify themselves as artists, said the lead researcher for DALL-E is how do you say it?
DALL-E?
I see it like WALL-E. But yeah, saying like we're doing this to like democratize creativity, which is, I just think that's an insane, like those two words don't go together in my head. Like they're kind of like phrasing it as though like they're oppressed by not being successfully creative.
I think there's like two different schools of thought in like my thinking to all of this, is that like as you already mentioned, All Eyes on Rafah, the AI generative image that became, so the reason why it got shared so much for like anyone that hasn't seen is because it became one of those story templates, which is like giving MySpace. It's like, everyone tap in, let's see you as a child, and then people are posting their
I did that last week. It's the only one I think I've ever done that.
Well, you know who hasn't done that? Siham, because she's 22 years old and she knows it makes people look fucking embarrassing.
Oh, I just like that. Anyway, yeah, it's like, it's just like made it even easier than having to find like an infographic and then put it on your story and like you're following the right account or you've seen it on someone else's story. You literally just see someone's story, click the button and it's on your story immediately as well. Like they've shortened the process even more.
So it's like that one, and this statement says that Meta cannot use my data, which how's Meta going to see a statement? Like, I don't think Adam Masari or whatever his name is following
through
you.
Your story. Well, I think the overarching like Meta corporation is the people are like, they're watching us. They'll see this and they'll know.
But this is what I'm saying. Like, I feel like this is kind of both of these things are a watershed moment in how like millennials and like, well, let's just be honest, we probably mainly follow millennials and older Gen Z use the internet. Like, I really do think it's our like Facebook mum moment. Like, we would laugh at people where it's like, what are some Facebook mum examples?
Being like, I do not allow Facebook to use my images in advertising. Like, they're getting your fucking Corfu fucking 2022 pictures and using it for a Facebook ad on the bloody tube.
It's even more just like, You know, like my partner's mum's favourite thing to do is like share missing cat ads. But even if they're from like
like
Yorkshire,
Texas.
Yeah, Texas, like she'll share every missing cat ad.
And then she'll comment on it being like, shared in Mountain Ash. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I feel like this is our real, like, our generation's moment of that, where we are seeing like a divergence in people that like know how the internet works and people that don't, and like people that would just fall for these like phishing schemes. It's basically a phishing scheme.
What is phishing?
Phishing is like scooping for information, basically. Like, it's kind of like, you know, if someone emailed you, like, you know, the like text messages from Every or whatever that are like, we cannot deliver your package, please click here, and it makes you fill out a form. Or even like on Facebook when it's like see your celebrity lookalike or whatever. Yeah, and you have to like input your date of birth, your email address, like all of that that's phishing.
And every now and then you see someone become like a NFT account.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I made millions off Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Click here to find out more.
Yeah.
I'm like, which of my mates are clicking that? Because that's embarrassing.
It will be the next step. It's the next logical step of this.
The people who want to fish are just now co-opting on stuff like this to get everyone's data.
Well, I think it's also feeding into like two things that the large user base of Instagram are like really passionate about. Passionate is the wrong word, but like are really clued in on. It's like, people at the moment do have their eyes on Rafah and Palestine, and like there's a increase in like open Palestinian support than there was like, you know, in the last 8 months. Like a lot of people are kind of, you know, learning more, seeing more as like the assault on Gaza goes on, that like they disagree with it. For example, things become like more black and white in people's mind, which is like another like embarrassing viral thing that went around that Sarah Paulson posted. And that was getting shared loads on people's stories. Did you see it? It was like, it's never too late. Even if you didn't support Palestine in October, it's never too late to start.
Fuck off.
And it was like,
I didn't see that at all.
It's like, Jesus Christ. Like, it's what I was saying on the Blockout one, which got like really misconstrued. But like, not everything needs to be made into like a perfect little quote that you can share and be like, yes, profound.
Just girly things his take on Palestine.
Yeah. We don't need it. Anyway, with that, we'll go to the break. And we are back. So, yeah, as we were saying, there's like the one side.
Does that make you feel like a celebrity?
What?
We're back.
No.
I think since watching that Devil film, which has AI in it.
It does. So, me and Gina have recently watched Late Night with the Devil. Was that it?
Yeah, Late Night with the Devil.
And it was really good. And they used AI in the most pointless way, which was just to make some title cards.
Yeah, it's so shit as well, because they had so many practical effects in it, and it was I really enjoyed watching it. Because I knew about the AI controversy before I went into it, I spent the whole thing like watching everything to be like, where is the AI?
Also, I'm not being funny, if you're not heard of defont.com, like, you can get whatever font you want for free.
Defont.com should fucking sponsor us. The amount of people that we have told about defont.com. And if you haven't been on defont.com, let me put you on to something.
We're not being sponsored. But it's like literally, I swear, you can like download any sort of like effects you want on Photoshop for free on the internet. You can download any font you want. Just like, it would take them 10 minutes to make what they did on AI.
Literally go on deviantart.com.
But I think they would have done it right at the beginning of AI when it wasn't like known to be bad yet, and they're like, oh, let's experiment kind of thing. And then
no, they've done like a quote after Double It Down.
Yeah, I know, but as in like, I feel like they would have done it being like, oh, this could be cool, and then like everything started coming out and they were like, oh,
too late.
Yeah.
I just don't think it would have been too late though. I think they've just been fannies about it.
Anyway, this isn't what we're talking about. So I think one, it represents like this watershed moment of a lot of millennials are getting stupid on the internet, and B, there's been a lot of discourse around all eyes on Rafah anyway, especially the fact it's an AI generated image. So I feel like when it was first getting shared, people didn't realise it was AI. Like maybe they just thought it was artwork or something, like not AI artwork. And then so I think I feel like I saw the whole cycle of like people posting it and then people being like, is this AI? And then so many people were posting it that everyone started posting it, like whether you thought it was AI or not, because it was like a black square.
Yeah, you have to do it.
And then the Twitter of like, this is AI. And then the backlash, like people being like, this is AI, and making really valid points. So I'll go through the valid points. So the valid points are obviously like, why does an AI image gain more traction than like the multiple images of like actual explicit, like
Actual Rafah as well.
horrible things that are happening in Gaza, and yeah, like actual pictures of Rafah, which maybe aren't as easily digestible as an AI image that looks like, it obviously just depicts, in quotation marks, the same thing, but it's not.
Can I just say, it looks so much like the Monty Python.
Oh, I don't watch Monty. I've never seen
You know,
Monty
you can
Python.
imagine.
I don't.
You've not seen a poster?
No.
After this, I'm going to show you a Monty Python poster and you're going to wig out. Anyway, sorry, sidetrack.
Obviously, it's like more palatable for people in some way to post like a artistic interpretation, let's say. And I think it kind of like speaks to this weird bigger thing of like art in times of like societal crisis and social crisis, which is something that I've personally been like feeling not conflicted about, but just like a bit strange about, because I understand why. Okay, also let's just draw a line in the sand here. I'm making a distinction. Obviously, no like AI haters come for me. I'm not saying this is art. I'm saying it does the same effect in that it removes us from the actual situation through an interpretation.
Yeah.
Okay?
Wow, that was a beautiful sentence.
So now we've done that. It's like I've seen increasingly in the past month or so like more art around Palestine. So for example, like art that has been made specifically to point to people's fundraisers, or like art that's like slogans. I remember there was like a first wave of this though in October, and do you remember that t-shirt that was like fats for Palestine, and everyone went the fuck off, like,
Yeah.
what the fuck
What
is
does
wrong
that
with
mean?
you? And they doubled down on it as well. They were like, all oppression is interlinked. It's like, I'm so sorry, but as a fat person I can tell you that being fat is not the same as like having your country bombed and like your people dying.
Yeah, we had like a first wave of this, and we are definitely going through like a second wave of people just. And sometimes some of them you see them and they're like literally just going to now. It's like, I've drawn this to like raise awareness, I suppose. But I'm also a bit like, I don't know, maybe I'm a bit too cynical.
I think there's like two lanes on it, and the first one is that like obviously a lot what we said before on the block out episode is that a lot of people feel helpless. If you're someone that has a large following, maybe the best way to get their attention is through your art, and I think that's like totally understandable and valid in a way. And obviously, like if we look at the history of art and like art as protest and all of these things are very valid forms of expression and do like move the needle in terms of public opinion and stuff. I mean, I think there's like a weirdness about it that it's like largely Western artists creating work about this Middle Eastern conflict.
Yeah, I think that's what makes me feel like a bit...
It's not voyeuristic, and I'm sure that most people have like good intentions, but it's just a minefield on social media, isn't it? And like the same people that can get not trapped into posting all lies on Rafah. That sounds like bad. Like
well,
people
click, that's going on the TikTok.
But as in like people are well intentioned, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're doing something that's useful, for example. And then the second is, I'm sure that now we are seeing, I'm sure from the success of this AI image, we're going to see so many people using Gaza to mine engagement and to increase their own following, which is like obviously a really dark, cynical thing to say. But this is the internet and people will do that.
Well, that's what's happened with this in the first place, because the original image was made by AI artist, but by an AI creating like a community online on Facebook that's got like, it's just like one of those groups where everyone just like makes different AIs and then they share them to each other and people give different tips and like, oh, this is the kind of prompt that I use.
Which I will say also exists on Instagram, and I feel like this is where another divide is, like, because on Facebook they're doing like crazy things, like doing Princess Diana as a mermaid or whatever.
I thought.
But then on Instagram, they're doing like 60s dreamscape. Like, here's what made up gorgeous like conversation pit house looks like. Like, we're all doing the same shit as our mums. Like, wake up,
it's like,
realize.
Imagine a bed made of lettuce.
Yeah, literally. Or it's like dream interiors. Like, I see Lily Allen post these all the time because I love to stalk Lily Allen. It's like dream landscapes, and I click through and every single one is an AI. And I'm like,
Facebook,
do you know this?
Imagine if an XL bully had angel wings and was crying under the McDonald's arches.
It's the same sauce, different flavours.
You're so right, that's so funny.
It literally is.
Just different aesthetic.
Yeah. Sorry, I forgot the point now.
So the person who made it, whose name is... I don't know if it's Zila ABKA or just Abka, I'm not sure, made it to be like to post in this Facebook group that they've got where they like get feedback on each other's AIs. There isn't the name of the group in the research, I don't think. Oh no, yeah, is it? No. Anyway,
if you want to join the Facebook group,
if you want to join a Facebook group, I've got quite a great one.
That do not involve AI
and do not involve defont.com, but I would like to be in that. But the original image was a square image, and it said underneath, it said on the image, it said AI generated by, and then their name. So someone has used AI again to get rid of that credit, which is like so like everyone on the internet just loves removing credit.
Galaxy brain.
And then cropping it into the was it landscape? I always get landscape and portrait. Portrait size, so it's shareable on social media. But I don't know why I was telling you that. I can't remember.
Oh, you were saying that so basically the artist said that they're happy that it's been used in this way. Like there's no kind of way of tracing whether they were the original one that posted it or not, because it came the template has come from a pretty dark account, do you know what I mean? There's nothing on there or whatever. But she said she's happy the image has been shared so widely. The quote, which is in the article, viral, all eyes on Rafah image came from Facebook group to make AI industry prosper by Jason Kobler for 404 Media. It was originally posted on February 14th, and then obviously the creator has seen it go viral, and she said, praise be to God, although it's only generated from AI, the important thing is that its goal is to open the eyes of many people. May victory be theirs in Palestine, and it belongs to us as humans. She wrote in one post about the virality of the image, but she did not respond to a request for comment with the article, which I think is the other school of thought in terms of whether this was useful or not. So Jason Akunde, who recently had a book out and he's a big journalist, wrote in a Twitter thread, the AI all eyes on Rafah post might feel performative or frustrating, but honestly, Israel-Palestine is a war of public opinion and consensus. If it has become trendy to stand against Israel's massacre of Palestinians, then that is the net good. I don't think it's comparable to BLM Black Square, which were weirdly deferential and based around a nebulous aim of listening and learning. The premise of this protest against the onslaught in Rafah is that we want the genocide to stop. That is a clear, achievable demand. Israeli politicians know that the war of consensus is key to victory, which is why they have a militarized communication strategy. If a random influencer is sharing a post about Rafah after months of mindlessly posting about PLT, this is an opportunity to seize and not be superior. I mean, I think it's both. I think it's just one of those things, it's as he said, it's nebulous, isn't it? The same people criticising maybe either the use of AI or how it sets us down a dark path of how we view war or how we view death and conflict. It's a Venn diagram. You can do both at the same time. I know in the grand scheme of things, it's very important to actually put the pressure onto governments to stop arming Israel and to, for the Palestinian liberation. But also it's we can't help but comment on these things when they're unfolding before our eyes, and especially when something becomes so shareable that it's if you ask that same influencer, this influencer that just exists for they don't actually exist, I'm not saying they do.
The influencer.
Yeah.
Capital T, capital I.
The next day, if you're oh, what do you think of that? If they say, oh, I don't know, then there's no point. That viral image has not done its job. Do you know what I mean? It's how do people engage with that viral image? Do they actually engage with it, or are they just posting it because it has to be posted or whatever? Because that people want to see that number grow for the same reason, we were saying about the gamification of Blockout.
Yeah. I think the optimist in me is kind of yeah, maybe the influencer's sharing it because they know that everyone else is sharing it and they feel like they have to. But then the audience might see it and be oh, the tide's turning and I need to rethink my opinion on this. I think it's the same as Jason said, there's this kind of net good about how do we reach our goals? And if the goal is to get more people discussing this, then goal achieved, I suppose.
I don't know, I feel a lot of the time social media is just a game of deflection though, people deflecting all the time and no one actually forming an opinion. Yeah.
But I think if everyone's surface level opinion becomes the one that we need it to be, that sounds so George Orwell, sorry.
Yeah.
But becomes something that's a positive vehicle for change. Then
I think people get more entrenched in their views rather than anything else. But that's just my opinion. I think we're nearly at time to wrap up. I hope the takeaway is Don't become.
Don't be sheeple. Don't become your mother.
No, it's coming for us all, apparently.
I think just be critical think about anything you see.
Yeah,
Same as like if you saw like an advert, you'd be like, have a critical thought about it. Like you have to be the same about like every image that you see online, basically, because there's...
Open the schools. Like, even if it's from an account you trust, like, you shouldn't trust the content.
No, and even if it's a shit post, be like, what is this trying to... Let's all become conspiracy theorists now.
No. I'm just saying, if you're seeing something that's conveying facts, like, actually, if you think you can, if you care about that opinion, look into it. Don't just be like, oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's
because then we get to things like, what's one of the maddest ones you believe? Because you went through such a phase of being like, did you know this? And we'd be like, where'd you get it from? You'd be like, TikTok. And we'd be like, it's not true.
I'll delete your TikTok now. So I've got it from Reels.
Which is even worse.
Well, have you told everyone about your banana thing?
That's just true. That's true science. That's not a conspiracy
And we know it's true because you've looked into it.
You can Google it, yeah.
Tell them.
No. We're out of time.
We'll put it in the description.
Okay. Thank you, Siham, for the research. Thank you, Gina, for the co-hosting, and thank you to all of the listeners and to Olivia for editing.
Thank you, Ione, for such a great conversation. Thank you for everyone who listens, everyone who reviews, and especially everyone who is in our WhatsApp chat.
We will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.